So Bernie Sanders really opened a can of whoop ass on Donald Trump on Twitter. So here's what Trump said. Last year was the first in 51 years where prescription drug prices actually went down. But things have been and are being put in place that will drive them down substantially. If Democrats would work with us in a bipartisan fashion, we would get big results very fast. All right, so you should already be skeptical. Why? Because Alex Azar, who was the former head of, I think it was Eli Lilly or one of these big pharmaceutical companies, who is a proven price gouger, Alex Azar is. He's the head of, Health and Human Services? He's the head of one of the government agencies where his job is to reduce drug prices. So do you understand how ridiculous that is? A guy who is a price gouger, who is the head of a pharmaceutical company, is in charge of lowering prices. It's almost like he won't do that. It's almost like he was put there to protect the profits of big pharma and even the health insurance industry. So when Trump says some shit like that, you should immediately be skeptical. Why? Because it's likely not true. So here comes Bernie Sanders to lay the smackdown. Here's what he says. That's a lie. There were 96 price increases for every cut during 2018. Drug prices increased 10.5% in the last 6 months. The price of 104 drugs rose by 13.1% on average last week. When we win, we won't wait for drug companies to end their greed. We will end it for them. Damn, dog. Oh, shit. Oh, my goodness. That reminds me of the movie Tombstone, where he says, you're just going to sit there and bleed. That's what Bernie just did to Donald Trump. He roughed him up, and then he goes, you're just going to sit there and bleed? Wow. Now, listen, you shouldn't be surprised by, first of all, Bernie's dropping facts left and right, of course, because he's Bernie. But you shouldn't be surprised by the fact that Trump is lying here, because you know what his plan was to lower drug prices? And I'm not joking about this. He literally asked the pharmaceutical companies to lower prices. So they may have, maybe they did a few token, medicines. They were like, yeah, okay, we'll drop the price of that and we'll drop the price of that. And then that gives Trump enough to go out there and make a bullshit argument of see, we've done it. Success. I have 2 bottles of pills that have gone down. Tremendous. But what a ridiculous, that's his philosophy. I'll just ask him and it'll work. You're going to keep the greed of giant mega corporations at bay by saying please and thank you? That's your plan. Ridiculous! Utterly ridiculous, but that's Trump 101. By the way, all it took was one meeting with big pharma lobbyists for Trump to change his position on Medicare negotiating for better drug prices. Not joking. One meeting with pharma lobbyists and he was convinced. And the thing is, this is how stupid Trump is. I don't even think it was necessarily the corruption that made him change his mind. I think that the lobbyists just presented a bullshit argument that convinced Trump. And he's like, oh, yeah, tremendous. No, we have to stop. No way we can negotiate for better drug prices. This would be sad. Wrong. It would be wrong. And that's what happened. Drug prices are still largely skyrocketing. So Bernie Sanders, this is why Bernie Sanders, I think, is the best shot we have at beating Donald Trump. Now, you shouldn't really care about electability. You should care about policy over all else. Electability is this bullshit idea that people came up with to try to gaslight the left into abandoning left-wing politicians. But if you really wanted to have the conversation about electability, the reality is I think Bernie's our best chance to beat Trump. Why? Because he clobbers him over the head with substance and he doesn't take his bullshit. He's not going to play Trump's game with Trump. Trump can call Bernie crazy Bernie all he wants, and then Bernie will just fucking brush it off and go right back to clobbering over the head with truth and reality and substance and a plan to fix everything.